Hello everyone, it's Marie from Skeletorama again. Welcome back to my channel. How's everybody doing? So I'm doing okay. So we are getting ready to do part 4 now of what will turn out to be a 5-part series, spoiler alert. And so in this particular section we've gotten the wings most of the way done. So we're going to finish those up throughout the video, and actually we don't get to see the reveal of the final finish unless of course you look at the thumbnail for the 3rd part of the series, but you get to see the final finish actually in the 5th one because that's when it's dry. But anyway, so we're going to do that. We're going to add the skirt to it, and then we're going to do some different design. We're going to pick some different design elements and things that we want to do to decorate the rest of it. So hope you enjoy. Okay, so now we have some more decorating stuff to do. So I have a few extra things out here. Of course, I've got our books that have been Mod Podged. And those are ready to go. I was thinking maybe we can do some of the Dresden Trim around here at the top. Let's pull this one out. Like, these little baggies are cool and all, but yeah, have fun getting that sucker back in there. We'll take a piece of this off. And this is, it's like a German scrap paper, and it's embossed. So the design is raised on there, so that is in black. So we'll of course have to do something to tart that one up a little bit. But perhaps, you know, as a trim, say right around here, once we get to that point, just to kind of make it look a little more finished. So we'll drop that, and then we'll leave these up here. So I've also got, since this is ending up as a book theme, some books. I'm not going to show you how to make these because I have a video that I can link below on my channel already that goes with my book kit, which are these ones here, and shows you how to make them, shows you a few ways how to make them, but these are ones that I already had done. And I also have some ones that I did with leather, so I was playing with some leather scraps to see what happens if you emboss it. Can you emboss it? Does it hold any detail? Sorta. But, you know, these would look kind of nice up here, or maybe this can be in her hands or something like that. Yeah, let's bring it so you can see it. There we go. You know, have it in her hands. We'll figure that one out when we get there. But these are going to be here, and I think we'll have the books on the inside but around, and then kind of stack some books since it's turning out to be very, you know, again, book oriented. And then on here we have this little spot, and I was trying to figure out what the heck to put there, and then I came across these, which are like little dragon eyes, and there's a nice little blue one in there. Let's take these out. Maybe have it just kind of sitting right in there. It looks sort of neat. So there's that. And then I also pulled out some of my flowers, of which I have a ton, because when we put the wings on the back, it'll kind of need something maybe, you know, right between them, just to sort of to cover it up. So I was thinking maybe one of the flowers would be lovely. What in the heck is that? Okay, and I also have some Prima flowers that are in more of a light teal, so we'll cross that bridge when we come to it too. Of course, we're still deciding which face we want on there, so they'll stay up here as well. So one of the things I do know that I want to do on the back of it is like a kind of a skirt thing. Now, let me grab that one that I did that to. Okay, so on this one here, I did kind of a skirt thing on the back, you know, some fabric and some stuff dangling down from it. So I think we could do the same on here. And so to that end, I do have some different kind of yarn and things. This stuff's cool. It's kind of this weird mesh stuff in a teal. Pretty much everything's in teals and blues, since that's kind of where we're ending up. Some of my yarn, and some more yarn. This one's a little more of a green. And then this is just kind of regular, but it may not go with everything else. And of course, I have fabric. And so here is the paper pad that we use the paper from to cover things. I just wanted to show you something kind of interesting. A lot of people don't realize this, but Tim Holtz also makes fabrics. So let me find the pages in here. In theory, this is the right one. Is this the right one? It's not the right one. I'm an idiot. Let me get the right one. This one. See, that's what I get for trying to actually be prepared. So this one here is, we actually took from both of them, but this one here is the abandoned one. Okay. So we have, for example, this paper here. There's also a fabric that goes with it. Okay. And then, let's see, which other ones do I have? This one right here. Is this right here. And it's really cool. It's kind of hard to get a hold of most of the time. I got mine from equilter.com. I think fabric.com carries it as well. This one here is that one. And these are great for doing journal covers too, especially if you want to do like a journal with, you know, the Tim Holtz papers and things. And then this one here is this one here. See, and they are eclectic elements. So if you look up Tim Holtz on the different fabric sites, usually it comes right up. In this case, you can look up abandoned, but there's also fabrics that go with wallflowers, with a lot of the different kits that he does. But they're usually a little bit older, so they're even harder to find. Okay, so I think we're good on that side. We'll segue real quick and hit the back of this. And with your mica sprays of any kind, whether they're the squirt bottle ones or the spray ones, always shake them up real good before you use them. Even if you used it 5 minutes ago, it doesn't matter because that mica settles to the bottom pretty quickly. Okay. Look at these ones, and then we'll do those ribs. And this stuff is going to be transparent as well. So as it dries back, you'll still be able to see the text really good. And I think we'll work on the bottom. I don't want the bottoms of these to be quite so, you know, rounded. Looks a little too neat, right? Come on. There we go. Okay. There's that layer of them. And then because I know myself really well, I'm going to go ahead and clean up this little spot here because I promise you I'd like the wing right in it. Okay, so put these up here to continue drying, and we will play around with the skirt idea. So when I get the fabrics, one of the things I do is I like to sacrifice like maybe a fifth or a quarter of a yard to make strips with. And then I take, this used to be the back of a sketchbook with my Bristol cardstock on it, and I'll rip them into different widths, and then I kind of will wrap them around these, so just so I know what I've got instead of having them in a big pile like my scrap bin. It's a little harder to find things, right? You can know there's something in there and look for it and still not find it. But a lot of these, the colors go really well with here. So I think this one here would work nice with it. This one, possibly this one. That one's a little too orangey. But this one is what my fabric came tied up in. It's just a white cotton one. So this might be a good base for us to maybe attach stuff to. So let's put the safety pin back on there. Just cut a little strip off. And then of course I have cheesecloth all over the place. I was thinking of having it like this, or even like this, and have it tie around to the front. In which case we would only want this to be back here because everything else will be attaching to it. And then we'll have something over the top of all of those to then come around and tie in the front. So that means this does not need to be quite this wide. The nice thing is you won't see it. So it can either, Again, it can either lay back here, you know, and then come around with the books, or it can even go here, and then we can stack a couple books in the back of it too. So we'll worry about that when we go to attach it, but let's play with some of the strings and things. So how long is this? So we're looking at about 5.5 inches between here and here. So we can go ahead and cut our yarn and stuff to about 6, just so we have extra leeway and extra room for things. So I want to start with this. And then I've got the measurements on here. So from here to here is 7, so that's 6. So we're just going to take a bit of this and we're going to cut this down. Kind of like when you do the tassel for the journals. It's the same principle. You're just going to cut a bunch of stuff and stick it on there and see how it looks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fast forward through picking all the different things. So just know I'm cutting everything to 6 inches, and then once everything's cut, then I'll come back to you and we can kind of arrange, see what works, see what doesn't work, and work on the wings some more because they should be a little more close to dry. Alrighty, so I got a bunch of stuff on here. Do I have more than I need? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I do. But that's fine. That's to give us some choice. So actually looking at these, that ribbon looks really out of place. So go ahead and pull that. So what I did was I went through my scraps, as you saw. I made some scraps with cheesecloth because I love that. This one here, normally I would pull these strings, but you know what? It looks kind of cool with all of them. So I'm going to try to leave them. This one I may have to trim a little bit of them off here. So it's a bit much. There we go. Jesus. Okay. That was my water, everybody, and that's why I use this. See that with that friggin' lid on there? Yeah, I've done that without the lid. That's a fun one. Okay. Anyways, well, that was your excitement for the day and mine. Enjoy. So we've got our different yarns and stuff. So what we want to do is, let's see, how is this for length? So if we go around, which I'm thinking would be good, we can go ahead and use the whole length of this. And we're going to take Fabri-Tac and we're going to Fabri-Tac this stuff on here, is how we're going to stick it down. So keep in mind that whatever you put down first is what's going to be visible through the front, and that's really, you know, what you want to see. So maybe I think we'll go with this in the front, and it's got little sequins. Looks like they're sparkly on both sides, so that works out nice. And I definitely want this kind of towards the center. So we'll take some Fabri-Tac and we will put it on here. And then we will lay this out here, and this way we can kind of spread this out. This stuff is really cool, this net stuff, but it just doesn't like to actually stay spread out so that you can see it's a net. It likes to kind of curl up. So, which is what it's doing a little bit there. Okay, so definitely want that. Let's see. How about, I really like this one. This is Robert Kaufman. It's an Egyptian fabric that I've used on other things. So we'll kind of put this down here, and You know, we'll just build it this way. And then we'll make this the part that's visible from the front, and then we'll flip it over, do some on the back maybe. These ones are kind of wide, so let me see if it will let me tear it. Usually, and that's the best way to do your fabric, is to just do a nice cut in there and just pull and tear. But when you go this narrow, sometimes it gets upset about it. So if anything, it'll pull off in a weird angle for us. Oh, good, it did. Yes. Okay, perfect. And let's leave these strings on here because that looks pretty neat. We want this to be kind of messy and cool looking and random. This is as close as I get to random. Okay, I think that's probably plenty. So we'll go ahead and put those scraps back. Where's my lid? The lid on here. Okay, and we are just going to kind of sit this off to the side to dry. There's all this other stuff. And I'm going to move some scissors because I'm starting to get annoyed at the amount of stuff that's on here. Okay. So we've got our wings here, and I think that looks good for the teal. I'm good with that. So now we'll go over the ribs a little bit with this. Let's see what this does. Now this has a little dropper, but the dropper doesn't really do like anything. See if I squeeze it out, nothing comes out. And I tried squeezing the air out and pulling it up. Nope, nothing. So we'll do the same paintbrush thing. You can always do that. And then we'll kind of hit these a little bit for some extra iridescence. Maybe do kind of little things in there. How's that look? Hopefully it looks okay because I'm already committed now. That's the crappy thing. It's like, oh, I want to try this thing. Why did I try the thing? I shouldn't have tried it. Looks like crap now, but no, it doesn't. And since this is a little heavier, once you first take it out, we'll do that and then do those. There we go, that's better. Okay. And this stuff is in ink. It doesn't take terribly long to dry. At least when I was messing with the books, it didn't. All right. And this color is copper plate gold. Okay. All right, so we've got those. We're going to let those dry some more. And the nice thing is if we decide we don't really kind of like it, we can put those on the back. Because I think those are the back anyway. Okay. So now, put these back up here. And we will bring this out here. And we're going to kind of hold this up here. You see? That's how that looks in this side here. And then this is how it looks in the front here. So I think what we want to do is turn this around this way. Because you're mainly going to see it from the front. Can you see it from the back? Yes. But, you know, who cares? Okay? So that's how that's going to look. So let's figure out what we want to use to go around it. Alrighty, so I think I had to put some stuff away. So I think probably this neutral one would be the best. Just because there's a lot of color, a lot of stuff going on in there. So that way we won't compete with it and it won't compete with anything in the front. So we'll go ahead and take probably this entire length of it here. Okay, so one of the things we want to do since we put this down on this just regular white base piece is we want to cover it up because you will be able to see it from the other side. So we will take, let's go with this one. And this is really cool. It's actually Leonardo da Vinci's handwriting, which I thought was neat. So we will cut a little bit off of that. And we will take the Fabri-Tac again. We'll put it on this side just to cover that up. So just so if they see it from the other side, it's not gonna look weird. Okay, so there's that there. And give that a second to dry. It doesn't take too long. Okay, and then we have, you know, all the stuff kind of sticking up over the top. So we'll go ahead and trim this to the level of this as well. So any of those little bits that are coming up and over, kind of trim those down. Okay, which is good. So the question is, do we want to attach this way? Actually, you know what? Let's put some on this side too. Now that I think about it, because duh, that's the side that's going to be in the front. Okay. And plus that'll help lock all of our stuff in there as well. So, more Fabri-Tac. I'll put this one on here. Make sure it's right side up. Even though you can't really read it, it will look strange to you if it's not right side up. Okay, there we go. So that's nice and even, and those are all contained. And we can probably go ahead and we'll attach this piece here, and then we'll attach the thing around it. So that way we kind of know what we're up against. So let's trim this a little bit more because that is rather thin. We don't want it to be too big, you know. So we'll take about 1/8 of an inch off of there. That top nice and level. That we'll get rid of because it's full of Fabri-Tac. That wouldn't do us any good for anything. Okay. So this looks a little bit better. I think we'll go ahead and we'll attach this, and we'll attach it level with the top. And then once it's attached on there nice and secure, then we'll worry about trimming this stuff down. Because you kind of want to just see how it's going to hang on there before you do that. And then we'll take this and we'll go around the whole thing. But we want it nice and secure. So yeah, let's be smart about this, shall we? Let's see, how far did this go around? So to be even, we're probably just a little tiny bit to the front of the body on the front part. So I'm going to hold this. I put a little bit on the top of each of the leg type pieces that come down as well to give it an extra little anchor point. And there we go. So we are going to let that dry for a minute. Okay, and see, you can see all the different fabrics coming down through here. And we can go ahead and trim these. And just do each one kind of individual. So that way you keep everything different lengths, and we don't want everything even because the whole point of this is to look, you know, uneven, slightly chaotic. I think I'll cut straight up the center of this and make it into two just because it's not wanting to behave anyway, so what the hell, why not, right? Okay, see, now we've got our little skirt back there. Now this is going to have the books in front of it, so it'll kind of keep it from, see how it's kind of coming in? I don't know if you can see it because it's standing up, but All right, so we are going to cut our books down because obviously this is way too many to use in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of put it on the inside here so I can get an idea of, you know, how many do I want? Where do I want it to go? So I think I want it to go around and stop at these two here. So I'll need to take off, there's one book there, 3 books there. That'll give us kind of an idea. So like 4 of the books. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and make sure my scissors are going the right way. Again, if you want to not have the serrations, have the logo facing away from whatever you're cutting and you won't get the little micro serrations. Okay, so there's that one there. Then we'll take 3, well, let's see, let's double check. Measure twice, cut once, or whatever the hell that is. Okay, which, yeah, I can measure 37 times. It's not going to help me, it's really not. Okay, so we want it to end at... yeah, we'll take these 3 off. Well, let's take these 2 off. Because you can always take off more, but you can't really put it back. Okay. So put this in here. It's the other thing with things like this, and you have the little messy strings. They look cool, but they get in your way. All right, so let me push this in here and sit it down. Okay, so that's, yeah, we can probably go ahead and lose 1 more book. You know what, I think we'll lose that one on the end. But yeah, I love how these are double-sided. That is just the coolest thing. I'll cut that a little bit more. Okay, so there we go. So now we have our books. So we're going to have to attach these. So we'll probably attach them, I think, like 1 section at a time. Maybe? I don't know. Let's see. Here's our, let's take our skirt and kind of twist the fabric around and take a clip and clip it out of our way, shall we? All right. Probably should put the skirt on after, but I was having too much fun with it. Okay, so have our books here, like so. And we want them so that they touch at the bottom. You know, again, we're going to have other smaller books in there with them, but see, probably the best way, because we know they're going to touch at the top. Here's how they look from the back. To get them to, they're not going to go all the way to these. It's just going to be the top. So I'm trying to think what the best way. Let's kind of pull these up. Should I use Fabri-Tac or should I use regular glue? That is the question. $1,000,000 question. You know, since it has a coating on it and we want to have a little wiggle room, maybe we should just use the E6000. So how about we'll do the bottom first. We'll go ahead and put it on here. It's not, I would rather put it on the base, but I'm not 100% sure where it's going to land. And then that way, once this sets up a little bit, then we can take and tack it down to wherever it actually meets the top part of the leg type pieces. I was kind of wondering how I was going to pull this part off, so we'll see, because obviously I haven't pulled it off yet, but I might. You never know. It'll look really cool if I do. Okay, let's get this in here. And there's our front. We'll get this as lined up as we can before we sit it down, because of course we'll start losing adhesive wherever it sits. Okay. So we'll push this back a little bit. And the key, of course, will be to get it, flat with the bottom. The rest of it is not as big a deal, but getting it flat with the bottom is. And then we'll go for evenness. Okay. So I think I will leave this the heck alone for a bit, just so that I'll set. E6000 does take a little while. So while this sets, we're just going to put it over here. We're not even going to look at it because we want this stuff to set and stay so we can do the rest of it. And if anything, we can take the glue, the regular PVC glue, and we can do kind of a ridge on the inside and a ridge on the outside because it'll dry clear, but it'll give it kind of an extra, it'll be holding it in there like that. So I do that with those things sometimes. So we're going to leave that there, turn our attention back to these. So the gold didn't really, I mean, didn't do a whole heck of a lot. The other gold was just a shiny, so really no point in messing with that. So these are the back of the wings, and these are the front. And the only reason I know is because I really liked that one type element, and I can still kind of see it poking out. Okay, so we have these like this. So we want to kind of make the ridges of the wings stand out a bit more. So I think we will use some distress ink. I was looking, I don't have any of the archival ink that's not water reactive, which would have been perfect because we're going to do something else to these, but I do have this, and it'll react a little bit to what we're going to put on it, but not too bad. So we're going to start with vintage photo. We're going to kind of do like if you were antiquing it. We're just going to go around. We're going to hit just those ridges and kind of darken them up, make them more of a brown, and make them stand out a little bit more than they're doing now. All right, so there is the vintage photo. Now we are going to move to a little bit darker of an ink, and we're going to use the ground espresso so we can add even more color. I just didn't want to jump to that right away in case the vintage photo was dark enough. So there we go. That's a little more of what I was looking for. And we can hit the teal parts with it as well and kind of knock the color back a bit. We really want to concentrate on those ridges because we want them to really stand out. All right, and this one I'm going to be very careful with because this is black soot, and it is, well, black. So I do want to do a little tiny bit just on the top ridges of things. I'm using a very, very, very light hand here on this. Darkening those up even more. This is the hard part. The one thing I hate is when you do this and you do come out with something like really cool and you forget how you got there because you did so many steps and then you screwed something up and then you did a step to fix it and you just can't ever replicate it. That part's a bummer. Okay, so I think that's good enough. That's dark enough. A little bit darker on this one. All right, and now I've got stuff all over my hands. Like I said, this stuff is water reactive until you want to get it off your hands, in which case nothing will take it off. All right, so I think what we're going to do with these is we're going to add the Crackle Paint. And I do have an example of what the Crackle Paint will do. So if you see the dragon here, the wings on the dragon and the dragon were done in Crackle Paint. And so it's clear and it forms these different cracks. And then you can take like a distress spray or something and go over it and it'll really highlight them. Now if you see these here, these I used the Crackle stuff on as well, but it interacted with the stuff in a very interesting way because this, I forget what color I actually made these, but it was not this. And it just kind of turned it made it look more like stone, which was pretty cool. So we're going to use that on there. So I did replace my Distress Crackle Paint that had dried because I hadn't used it enough. So I have a new one here, and this is my favorite. I've tried other ones and I don't like them anywhere near as much as I like this. So the distress ink that we put on there will react with it. There's no getting around it because it's a liquid. So we'll try to do it and kind of glob it on there but not move it around too much. And so we'll do this front side and we're going to let it dry, and then we'll do the back side. And with the Crackle Paint, actually, you know, now that I think about it, one of the things I did want to do was make these less neat. Should probably do that before we put the Crackle Paint on there. So my little small scissors, and I was just going to kind of go in here and sort of make it, you know, kind of more natural looking, you know. Okay, yep, that's about as close as they're going to get. And yeah, see, the back's kind of meh. I don't really like that, but that's okay. The Crackle Paint, we will be able to hide that. Okay, now we're going to put it on. So the thicker that you put this on, the thicker your cracks will be. And I just kind of get it and just sort of blob it on there. And you don't have to worry about, oh no, it's going to dry too soon. Yeah, no, this stuff takes a while. This might actually even be a tomorrow it'll be dry thing. But it also really brings out, as you can see, the sparkle. And it's kind of reactivating and mixing with the mica spray as well. And I'm not like pulling so much as I'm kind of more dabbing and moving stuff around. And then for this part, we'll have to sit it down. And I kind of hold it to the light to make sure, did I get everywhere? So, I mean, you'll know when it's done doing its thing if you did. But okay, so that looks pretty good. Oh, need to get this bottom part here. Okay, there's one. Set that up there. Now we'll get the other. All right, so that should be good. So we will leave this to dry, and then we'll have to come back and do the back. I'll probably come back once this is dry and do the back, and then come back to you guys, because that'll be ready, this will be ready. And I think with this, I'm going to go ahead and, since it's sticking pretty good, put that this way. I'm going to go ahead and use the PVA glue and get behind these. So I'm going to kind of pull this forward a little bit, and where it touches that, I'm going to go ahead and put some of the glue. I just won't be able to do it very well where you can see it. Oh, I can maybe do it like this. Okay. So I've got that tacked down. I'm going to go ahead and do, like I said, a narrow kind of ridge, kind of like when you're icing a cake in a way. And I'm filling in that seam right there, so it's got extra staying power. So like this. And we'll do the same on the inside, so that way everything will be dry. Yay! That'll be fun. That's the nice thing with the fine tip too, is you can kind of get in there and squeeze as well. Okay, so we'll stick with just the back for now, because I don't want, with it still drying and being delicate, I don't want to do that and reach on the inside to do it and then knock everything loose. And actually the other thing we can do too is we can decide which face we want on there finally. So we have this one here, and we have this one here. And I'm kind of leaning towards this one. No, although this does look a little more proportionate than that one does. Oh, I hate that. Yeah, you know what? I think we're gonna go with her. So we're gonna go ahead and put some glue on here. Basically just gonna cover the head part with the glue. And on her, I've already inked it, I think. I usually do. If not, we'll get that later. And then we're gonna kind of sit it on here, and we wanna match that neck up so it'll look correct, and then get her head in whatever direction we want it. Okay, press that down. And we will let that dry as well. So many things drying. That's the only thing that drives me crazy about this, is having to sit and wait for everything to dry. Okay. Usually, since it tries to curl up, I'll come around to the back and I'll kind of press those parts back so it doesn't try to curl up too much. And we're going to put something behind her head, and then we'll end up painting, we'll paint this part here so that matches, even though we're going to put something behind it, just so it's, you know, it's not seen. So, okay, we're getting there. So I will be back with you when these have crackled, and I've done the back and they've crackled, and then we will be good to go. Okay, so we are in the home stretch. We are picking out all the final things to do for the decorations for it. We've got skirt done, wings are done. Just need to wait to see what the finish looks like, which you will see in the next one, or of course if you look at the thumbnail for the third one. But if you've stuck through it this far, thanks. You have a lot of stamina. I'm really trying to make these short, but they never end up short. I need to do something less complex. But anyways, so in the next and final part of the series, you will get to see all the different finishing touches we're going to put on there, and then we will be done with it. So hope to see you then. Have a good night. See you guys later. Bye.